Something unusual just happened in global politics. A country outside Europe has been invited into a summit designed only for European leaders. And surprisingly, it's not the United States. It's Canada. For the first time, Canada is attending the European Political Community Summit. This forum was created after the Ukraine war to coordinate strategy on defense, trade, and economic stability. It was never meant to include non-European nations. So Canada's presence raises a bigger question about global power shifts. If you want clear, fact-driven analysis on global politics and how it impacts the United States, consider subscribing to USA News Now. Because stories like this are not just headlines. They are signals of deeper changes shaping the world.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is off to Armenia this weekend for meetings with European leaders about strategic issues that touch on defense and the economy. He'll be attending the European Political Community Summit, and it's the first time that a country that's not inside Europe is part of these meetings. These meetings have been going on since the 2022 full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and they touch on how to better economically integrate the continent and to deal with strategic issues around defense. These meetings include not just the EU, but other countries like Iceland, Britain, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Turkey. And they're meant to sort of shore up Europe's way of responding to these broader issues, whether it's coming from Russia and defense concerns, China with economic concerns, and lately, what's going on in Washington. Carney's office has framed these meetings as a way to advance Canada's diversification, specifically after a defense deal signed last year, in which Canada can work with European defense firms on contracts and secure loans from the EU. Canada's also trying to diversify trade and double non-US exports by 2030.
This is not just a routine diplomatic visit. It is a signal that Canada is being seen differently on the global stage. In today's world, influence is no longer about geography alone. It is about relevance in strategic conversations. To understand this shift, you have to look at the current global environment. The United States is becoming less predictable in trade and foreign policy. China continues to expand its influence across regions, and Europe is actively searching for stable and reliable partners.
So it's the first time a non-European leader has joined this European Political Community Summit. What do you make of Canada's position at this forum?
Well, first of all, I do think we should be flattered as a country for the invitation, because it is a reflection of how America is rewriting the rules, how the rest of the world is struggling to figure out how do we accommodate this, and the degree to which the world is looking to the speech that Prime Minister Carney gave in Davos as maybe an indication of how we do that. So I do think, we can look at it and say, well, there's a little bit of a tip of the hat there. But the reason that Mark Carney is going is not for that. He is going because he will, as Graham just mentioned, accept any invitation anywhere that puts him in rooms with European leaders so that he can strengthen our economic ties, strengthen our trade ties, strengthen investment ties. He is on a relentless campaign to try to draw people from around the world, and particularly Europe, to Canada, because we are going to have to offset some of the risks that America is creating for our economy.
In that environment, Canada is stepping forward as a consistent and stable player. This invitation is not symbolic recognition. It reflects a deeper strategic alignment between Canada and European nations, and it shows that Canada is being included in conversations that shape global decisions. From Canada's perspective, the goal is clear. It is trying to reduce its economic dependence on the United States. It is expanding trade relationships with Europe, and it is building long-term partnerships in defense and investment.
Well, it sort of comes back to the observation that Mr. Carney made. This is the world that we live in now. So in a world where China is China, India is India, and suddenly it appears as though the U.S. has turned on us all, do we have to instead focus our attentions, our foreign policy, on self-interest? Do we have to move rather from this idea of trying to advance our broader public interest and human values, trying to project our values around the world, to trying to secure objectives trying to secure transactional deals. And that's got to be the real politic of where we are. And people are right to observe that that is what's driving our foreign policy right now. And frankly, not everyone in Canada supports that, but it would appear that a majority of Canadians do.
This shift also reflects a broader change in foreign policy thinking. Countries are moving away from ideal-driven diplomacy. Instead, they are focusing on practical and strategic interests. In an uncertain world, stability and resilience are becoming priorities. For the United States, this development carries an important message. Allies are no longer relying on a single center of power. They are building parallel relationships to reduce risk, and that signals a gradual redistribution of global influence. Canada is not replacing the United States, but it is positioning itself as an alternative partner in key areas. This is how influence evolves in modern geopolitics. Not through declarations, but through consistent engagement. This summit is more than just a meeting. It represents a shift in how countries are aligning themselves globally. Canada is moving beyond its traditional role within North America, and it is becoming a participant in broader strategic discussions. The real question is no longer who holds the most power. It is who can be trusted in a rapidly changing world. And right now, Canada is trying to position itself as that answer. If you want to stay ahead with clear insights on U.S. politics, global relations, and the forces shaping the future, subscribe to USA News Now. Because understanding the why behind the news is what keeps you ahead.